Does your workplace ever feel like it's just chaos? One fire after another? Well, today we're going to talk about how to turn all that chaos into control by building a risk profile. It's this powerful tool that helps you see problems before they even happen. Okay, so picture this. A huge, sprawling construction site. You've got welders sending sparks flying, heavy machinery moving all over, flammable materials, and dozens of people in constant motion. It's like a symphony of controlled chaos. But how do you actually get ahead of the danger? I mean, how do you spot the accident before it happens? Let's dive in. Well, the answer starts with creating what I like to call a blueprint for safety. And look, I know what you're thinking. Oh, great, more paperwork. But trust me, this is not that. This is probably the single most important tool you have for really understanding and managing the threats your organization is facing. So, what exactly is a risk profile? Let's break it down. It's basically a formal summary that does three key things. It names your threats. It figures out how likely they are to happen. And this is the most important part. It checks how good your current safety measures actually are. It's like your entire safety strategy all boiled down into one powerful document. And this is a really key mindset shift, right? A risk profile isn't just a list of don't do this, don't do that. It's a blueprint. You know, just like an architect's plan guides you in building a skyscraper, your risk profile guides you in building a safer, more resilient operation. Okay, so how do we start building this thing? Well, step one, you got to put on your detective hat. It's time to move beyond that vague feeling that something could go wrong and start identifying specific, tangible hazards. And hey, there's a super simple three-step process for this. First, you name the big overarching risk. What's the potential accident? Second, you identify the specific hazards, the actual sources of danger that could cause that accident. And third, you describe them. The key here is to get really granular. Let's make this real and go back to our construction site. The big picture risk we're going to name is fire and explosion. But see, that's way too broad. What are the specific hazards? Well, it could be welding sparks near flammable materials, or maybe some improperly stored fuel, or even some faulty temporary wiring. Each one is a distinct trigger that could lead to the exact same catastrophe. Alright, so once you've got your hazards identified, we get to the real heart of the assessment, weighing the likelihood against the impact. This is where we start to put some numbers on the risk. You got to think of this as a two-part equation. First, likelihood. How often are we actually exposed to this danger? Second, impact. If it does happen, how severe the consequence is going to be. You absolutely need both to understand the full picture. So, let's go back to our fire risk on that site. Welding happens every single day. Temporary wiring is everywhere. Dozens of people are exposed. When you consider how often this happens and how many people are involved, the likelihood score is high. We're going to give it a 5 out of 5. Very likely. Now, for the other side of that coin, impact. If a fire breaks out, what happens? We're talking about serious injuries, massive property damage, and the entire project just grinds to a halt. The potential for disruption is extreme. So yeah, that's another 5 out of 5. Catastrophic. And here's where it all comes together. A very likely likelihood combined with a catastrophic impact gives us the highest possible risk rating you can get. Very high. And this isn't just some score on a spreadsheet. This is a giant flashing red light demanding your immediate attention. Now, a very high rating sounds alarming, and it should. But to get real buy-in for safety improvements, you often have to speak the language of business, and that means translating that risk into dollars and cents by figuring out its true potential cost. And this is crucial. The cost goes way beyond just a single piece of burnt-out equipment. We're talking about medical bills, replacing property, fines for project delays, and the absolutely massive financial hit of a complete operational shutdown. When you start to add all of that up, the potential damage is just staggering. Okay, so you've identified the risk, you've rated it, and you understand the cost. The final critical step is to look at the safeguards you already have in place and ask one simple, honest question. Are they enough? Your evaluation is going to lead you to one of two conclusions. Either your current controls are sufficient, meaning they're effective and they're managing the risk, or they're insufficient, which means there's a dangerous gap between your safety measures and the reality of the hazard. If you find your controls are weak, the path forward is clear. First, explain why they're not working. Second, identify new actions that will be effective. And third, and this is the most important part, you actually implement them. This is how you transform the risk profile from a static report into a living document that continuously makes things safer. And that brings us to the biggest takeaway here. A risk profile isn't about having a crystal ball to predict the future. It's about having a blueprint to build a more resilient one. It's a strategic tool that lets you understand your weak spots and systematically create a stronger, safer organization. So, I'll leave you with this question to think about. What's the biggest unmanaged risk in your world right now? And what's the first step you can take today to start building its blueprint for safety?